Welcome to Intentional Divorce Insights. I'm Leah Hadley, certified divorce financial analyst, accredited financial counselor, and the founder of Intentional Divorce Solutions. I'll be your guide through the complexities of divorce, finance, and emotional wellness. Join me as we uncover practical tips and empowering insights to help you navigate your divorce with clarity and intention. Hi there, and welcome back to Intentional Divorce Insights. I am so happy that you are here, and I am thrilled to introduce our guest today. Based in Dallas, Texas, and serving clients across the U.S., Julia Hoffman specializes in transforming the stigma around divorce into a blueprint for family success. With a master's in marriage and family therapy and training in Martha Beck's coaching program, Julia expertly navigates divorce and co-parenting issues, informed by both her professional and personal experience as a child of divorce and a co-parent herself. Together with her wife, Christy, Julia happily co-parents 3 daughters, 6, 10.5, and 14, alongside their dad and bonus mom. Julia gained her 4th oldest daughter when she adopted Christy's bio daughter, Dylan, a sophomore in college, plus 4 dogs, plus her garden, which feels like another child as well. Julia's mission is to remove the shame of divorce and redefine what it means to be a family by providing effective strategies for divorce, co-parenting, and LGBTQ-related challenges. Thank you for being here, Julia. It is my absolute pleasure to have you.
Thanks, Leah, for having me. Yeah, we're getting into that gardening phase where it's a little less fun as Dallas gets hotter and hotter. But I'm
Believe
committed.
it or not, even here in the Cleveland area, it's really hot right now, which is totally unusual.
Yeah, everywhere. So thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it is my pleasure. And when I was reading your bio, one of the things that I read was that you happily co-parent, which is just not a term that a lot of people use. And I would love to hear more about what that means to you.
Sure. Means a couple different things. I'm happy for my children, for all 4 of our children. So my kid's dad, who I never say ex because I just really don't like that term. So my kid's dad is remarried. So my wife and I parent with the girl's dad and his wife. So we're all 4 parents, and that's how I look at it. I look at it really, really evenly. It doesn't, like, bio or not, it doesn't really matter to me because we all put in the same amount of energy. So I'm happy for our kids that they get to see that they get to see their parents sitting together at their volleyball games and their 8th grade graduation, and that we really enjoy parenting together. It doesn't mean we're best friends outside of parenting, and I actually think that's good. That's a good thing. That works better. And then I happily co-parent because I get a break.
Right.
I get breaks, and I get time just with Christy and I. I get to nap. I love a nap. Should probably put that in my bio. I love a good nap. And I don't think that divorced parents, the shame and the guilt is so strong. I don't think that divorced parents are comfortable talking about that as a plus because you get a break because you're not with your children.
Right.
Especially mothers, and you're a mother, know that it's this being excited to not, or having to be okay to not be with your children just sounds like a, mortal sin. But it makes me a better mother.
It absolutely does for me too. And I will say it's really important for my relationship as well. As you mentioned, you have time with Christy. I've been remarried now for several years, and that's the time that we have together to really work on our own relationship, which is so critical when, parenting teenagers. So I absolutely agree with you, Julia. It makes a big difference.
Do you feel more refreshed when
I do.
Yeah, you notice a difference from before when you were what I call like 100% parenting?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it gives me time for my career as well. I run 2 businesses that I am very passionate about, and I want to have time to do those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it provides that.
Yeah. So, in your experience, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that society has about co-parenting?
Mm-hmm. That that we just talked about.
Uh-huh.
Um, that it has to be that it's well, one that it's negative. That it has to be negative. It's just so in the culture, in our zeitgeist, that it has to be contentious and um, people have to pick sides, in the extended family and friends, everybody has to pick sides. It does not have to be like that. I have worked with many clients. I got into focusing on co-parenting because I was working with women coming out later in life. We kind of get into um, the work that we know the best, and so using my marriage and family background, uh, I started working with those women, and it was really amazing, fascinating. But the part that I loved the most and felt most rewarding, and I thought made the biggest difference, was helping the woman and her husband navigate the ending of their marriage, how to parent together. And that was really the most painful part for her.
Mm.
It was the most painful part. And um, I felt like that is, and it was the most painful part for me too, because I had the same situation. So I really, really wanted to support that because it was the most painful part, but also the most rewarding to be on this side now.
Yeah.
So I think that people they don't understand that it can be a good thing, um, that children are not, this is I'm on this kick right now. Divorce does not hurt children, Leah. Divorce does not hurt children. Parental conflict hurts children.
Mhm.
Like just the divorce itself, it contributes to conflict, obviously,
Sure.
but it's not the thing that is going to automatically damage your children. I don't think parents know that they have some control over that based on their choices.
It's such a good point, and I always share with people about my own co-parenting experience because the first year was not pretty,
Mm-hmm.
and there was just a moment in time where my ex-husband and I came together, and it was like, this isn't working for anybody. Like,
Mm.
we need to figure this out as adults. And it was such an important moment for us because otherwise we would have continued the way we were going, and it wasn't good for the kids, it wasn't good for us, and it didn't have to be that way. You're exactly right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What was the? Can I ask? What was the point where you said this isn't working for us? Like, um, did you both get there at the same time? Or was
We
somebody?
seem to have gotten there at the same time. Yeah. Yeah. It's just the tension. And, even my kids were really young at the time. My youngest was still a toddler, and he
Mhm.
used to scream when he would go back and forth between our homes. And it didn't matter which way he was going, he just didn't like the change.
Yeah.
And so there was so much tension. And every time we would, have a switch with the kids, and it was just like, I don't know, it was just heartbreaking, and it was just, we couldn't keep going like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. Um, you may have done this. One tip I like to give some constructive, actual, tips is it helps to. Did you would you pick up your kiddo, like the toddler, from their dad's house, or would you drop off, or did it change?
He was always responsible for transportation, so he would drop them off at my house
Okay,
and pick
yeah.
them up.
So, and that works for some people. For us, and what I tell people is um, bringing. Oh no, he would drop off. That's right. Bringing the child to their home as opposed to picking them up from their home and taking them back to your home. There's
Okay.
yeah, there's something that's more gentle about you know delivering them and walking them in and bringing them home. They're not they're not waiting for you to pick them up. They don't have to have this the dramatic exit from their home. It can help. It can help. but it's
So
hard.
that is good advice that I could have used like 10 years ago, Julia.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I have
Me
teenagers now.
Me too. My youngest, Leah, when we separated, was 14 months.
Okay.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
It was brutal. So yeah, yeah. Like to share. We both like to share from our trials, right?
Right, right. Absolutely. I would rather share and have other people avoid it than have to witness them going through the same thing that I went through.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right.
So, speaking of which, do you have any big regrets when it comes to your divorce or co parenting experience?
Mm, yes, yes. I wish that I had been more protective of my story. I wish
Hmm.
that I had been mindful of how I talked about it. Um, and the energy that I gave to each person when I would talk about it is I was so focused on having them not think that I was a monster, having them not think that the kids weren't going to be okay. I was like trying to manage all these people and feelings, and mine was, I had come out and I had met my now wife. This is how I realized I was gay. It was really, I mean, they're all really complicated, but it was really, really complicated. Um, so I wish that I could have had the vision to like, I don't have to, one, I don't have to throw myself under the bus, and I don't have to spend this energy. I don't have the energy to spend
Yeah.
having all these conversations. I only had energy for my children and their dad because there was still a lot of things that the two of us needed to, figure out.
Hmm.
So that would be, I would do that differently, and I try to help people. I try to help people with that now. Like you just
Fantastic.
shrink your circle, really
Yeah,
shrink.
we had a coach, Meg Gluckman, come on and talk all about reframing your story
Mm,
and making it. Yeah, it was a really good episode, and I'll include a link in the show notes below. But she just had some really simple, practical tips, and I think that's a struggle for a lot of people that people aren't even necessarily conscious of.
exactly, because it's you're in the eye of the storm, so you're not thinking about it.
Right.
Um, and I wanted to be the one to I wanted to be the one to tell people. And so I, spread it far and wide. But what don't regret is how we told our children. Well, no, I do. That is second regret. Last thing, second regret. I regret that I did not listen to my gut about how to tell our children. I listened to the professional, and I knew that that was not the right way for our children. Um,
Mm,
because she said, you have to be so direct. There can be no misconception for them. They have to know that this is happening, know you're getting divorced. So we were to give them a snack because you can't have an emotional breakdown when you're having a snack. To which I thought, yes, you can, because I've done it many times. I can break down and eat some cereal very fine. Um, and then tell them just directly, we are getting divorced, just no leading into it or anything.
oh wow.
Well, the treat that we gave them was rainbow sherbet ice cream because that was their favorite. And their dad was the one that actually said, Mom and I are getting divorced. And the first thing I heard was my 7-year-old let out this, the most painful cry, wail I've ever heard. And then my 4-year-old, about 15 seconds after he said that, she threw up. She
Oh
just,
gosh.
she just, she just threw up. I mean, right at the table, to which now she loves that story because later that day we told them I was gay because it came up because of their questions. But she loves that story. And she says, when my mom told me she was gay, I threw up rainbows. so,
Oh.
so that's her little funny in it. She loves telling that story. But if I had to do it again, we would have eased them into it we have big conversations all the time. They're used to having like deep conversations. I don't think we needed to like hit them with it. So
Yeah.
I try to guide parents in, your child best.
Mhm.
So get some professional advice. And at the end of the day, your child best. You go with what you think is best for your child.
So important. So important. And it also varies so widely by age and by dynamic between the children and,
Yeah,
all of the different things impact what's the right way to approach it for your family. So
exactly.
I appreciate you sharing that because that's really important.
Yeah, yeah.
What advice do you have for parents who are struggling to co-parent amicably with a high conflict ex-partner?
So my belief and what I've seen is it really it really just takes one parent to make pretty big difference. Because I do hear that a lot. My ex will not be on board, or I don't think their mother will be on board, or their father will be on board. I was actually surprised. I actually get more calls from dads than
Okay.
I do from moms, just to use dad mom language, but um, and it's so the if one parent is hurting more, one parent is there's more conflict. It's just a balance. If I'm working with both of them, it's just a balance to help the other parent not take it as, obviously it feels like a personal attack, but to just help them see they're hurting. They're hurting. Like, and the hurt comes out, or they're scared, and it comes out as anger, and it comes out as all these other things. But if you can not, internalize it, and you can not play into it, the hurt is gonna dissipate, and things hopefully will smooth over. Now, I'm not talking about like, I know we overuse the word, but a classic narcissist, or certainly not talking about someone that's abusive. I'm just talking about like one parent it's usually the parent that was not expecting the divorce, or is more
Mm.
resistant and feels like, the victim. So
Okay.
try to help balance it. But I really think you just need one to make a pretty big difference in the dynamic.
That's really interesting, and I
Is that
think a
your,
lot of people.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
is that your experience, that um, there's hope if one is really upset, there's hope for them still if the other is a little more grounded?
I would say yes. Certainly having one more grounded is makes a huge difference.
Hmm.
For a lot of what we see in our practice, people just need time. And so a lot of times people are sort of rushing things and expecting somebody to be in a place that they're not,
Hmm.
especially when somebody is surprised by the divorce.
Hmm.
That other person has had so much time to come to that conclusion and to
Yeah.
already feel the feelings that they're going to have about it. Whereas that person who's surprised by it, it's completely new. It's a shock, right?
Yes.
And there's a lot of feelings that have to take place and a lot of healing that has to happen. And it just doesn't happen overnight. And I think a lot of times that other person is just so frustrated by the fact that there is this ongoing emotional issues.
Hmm.
But it's just a lot of times seriously just a timing issue.
Yeah.
And that it kind of works itself out over time.
Yeah. That's a good point. And to have it not snowball, um, for the parent to understand that it's, uh, oh, hold on. I'm having a 45-year-old moment. Hold on. I'm going to get it back, Leah. I'm going to get it back. Um, no, I think here, go on. It'll come back to me with the second you ask me this next question. What my point was.
Okay. What has been a funny moment co-parenting?
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, uh, this is co-parenting, but this is more about my the kid's bonus mom. So technically my ex-husband's wife. So the two of us have the most flexible work schedule. So we usually go to the school events and things together. And in the beginning, we were at a new school. We went from private to public school, and we're at this new school. And I'm kind of like introducing us or introducing, her to someone if I'd already met them. And I'd say, this is Erin, the girl's bonus mom. But then I realized they wouldn't know because I think most people knew that I was a lesbian because it's Texas and there's not that many of us in, these public schools and stuff. So I thought, how are they not going to think we're married? So I would say, this is Erin, the girl's bonus mom. We're not married. She's married to their dad, right? And I would do that. If you're just listening, I'm like, putting my hands away, like, we're not married. So finally, after doing that so many times, she turned to me in the middle of it and said, I'm starting to get offended by this. I'm starting to get like, what, that you're making this big point that no, we are not together. But which, oh my, I didn't even think about it. Anyway, it was just so. It was like the first time we sort of like laughed about that, and we've laughed about a lot of things. Yeah. So
that's fantastic.
It's complicated. We're kind of a complicated family. So there's often some misunderstanding with somebody else that comes up, and it just makes us chuckle.
That's great.
Yeah.
So Julia, where can people find out more about you and how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So it's very easy. It's my website, juliahoffmancoaching.com, Hoffman with 2 F's, and all my information is there. September, I feel like won't be that far away, but September 20th to the 22nd, I'm doing a virtual summit to help people, be like a 3-day summit to help people that are in the process of divorce and want to do some work on it, some healing, and then learn some practical things.
Fantastic.
And then there's a lot of other detail about the one-on-one coaching that I do on my website.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And you also have a free gift for our audience. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So it's a quiz where I, sort of like the 5 categories that I think people really need support with, that they have a hard time with. Some being just letting go of the marriage. I think people get really stuck. I knew it would come back to me. I knew it would come back to me. People get stuck because they want to be friends, right? They want it to be friends. They want it to work, but there's no process or help, I think, in going from being married to being co-parents. You can't be friends in that. You can't be friends right away because you're establishing boundaries and you're setting all these new norms. But then that other person, that your former spouse, setting those boundaries makes them seem really cold. I don't know if you hear this a lot.
Oh, yeah.
People say, I don't even know this person. I don't even know who they are. They're not, like, it's like they're a totally different person. Well, it's because it's hard to go from being married one day to being in a completely different kind of relationship. It's like you have to forget all of that stuff and cut it all out and only focus on the parenting thing. Well, that's really hard to do. So even just educating people that it's okay to have this period of time. It's normal where you're kind of figuring it out. And if you can do that and set the boundaries, you're much more likely to have a friendly relationship in the future. So anyway, but it's my best advice for people. They answer some questions, obviously totally, confidential, and then they get a result of something I think that they need to work on. And I'm pretty direct, so people can sort of take it or leave it, but I give some pretty straight advice. Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a very helpful resource. So we will include a link below in the show notes so you all can take advantage of that.
Yeah,
Julia,
you
thank you so much. Go
take
ahead.
it, Leah, and tell me if it was if it worked for you, if it was the
I
right result
will. Okay.
for
I'll do
something you
that.
needed to hear. Although you're a pro now, you've been doing it for long enough. You're a pro. Yeah,
We do the best we can, one day at a time.
right.
It's not the co-parenting that's the problem. The kids throw us for a loop all the time.
It's the teenage. It's the
Yeah.
teenage. Yeah, yeah. I hear you. I hear you on that. So, yeah. Well, thank you.
But oh, you're very welcome. I really appreciate your time and spending just this time to give us your thoughts and wisdom. It was really helpful for me to hear as a co-parent some of your stories, and it's nice to know that you're not alone.
Yeah,
And so I appreciate your willingness to share even your personal stories.
yeah.
This is our last episode of the season, so we will be back in about a month or so with season 2. But thank you all for joining us over this last season. We'll be replaying some of the episodes so you can enjoy some of the favorites that people have shared with us. And we'll see you back in like a month or so.
Thank you for joining me on Intentional Divorce Insights. It's a privilege to share this time with you. I hope each episode offers valuable guidance to navigate your journey. If you find our content helpful, please leave a review to help others discover the benefits of intentional decision-making in divorce. Until next time, take care and continue to embrace your path with intention.